All right, hello everyone and welcome to today's Gems of War video. This video I have for you my scouting report for Stormheim week, which will begin on April 29th, 2024. This week will also see the beginning of a new holiday event. This holiday event will feature Bright Forest as far as a new troop, new pets, that type of thing. It will either be a mana restriction of green or purple. My money is on purple, maybe as like a 51%. But if either way, just keep an eye on your troop collections. Make sure you can field an all green or all purple lineup, and you should be good to go. The guild event is going to be a little bit harder because we are going on another journey, and that journey is almost definitely going to be a restriction of blue plus giants. And while that can be done, it is a little bit tricky. I would suggest that you make use of the class for Stormheim, since that makes your hero a giant. It also gives all giants in your lineup a 50% start. And let's go ahead and take a look at everything else that we're going to see in Stormheim and its faction. Stormheim is an ice kingdom with a skill point bonus of life. The most important thing about the Stormheim kingdom is that it can already get to the maximum power of 30. So all of the troops that we're going to add, plus the weapon that we're going to be adding, as scheduled for Stormheim, is just going to make it that much easier to get to maximum power of 30. The trait stone that's available in Stormheim is the Arcane Stoic trait stone. It is the only kingdom that has that trait stone, and it is the solid blue trait stone. So Stormheim also becomes the go-to kingdom whenever you want to get the water trait stones, be it the major, minor, runic trait stones as well. So if you need to grind those trait stones for any reason, and it's still Leonis week, make sure you do that now. Don't wait until Stormheim begins, because then you won't be able to get the Arcane Stoic trait stone until the week is over, and you'll have to get the other trait stones in kingdoms where you only have a 50% chance of getting it compared to the 100% chance. As I said, the hero class Titan is a really good class to have. When fully traded, gives all of your giants a 50% mana start. As far as getting the maximum value out of that hero class, it kind of tapers off at 70. However, if you have designs of getting Stormheim to power 20, you'll have to get it all the way up to class level 100 anyway. On Tuesday, we're going to be doing Frostfire Keep. Frostfire Keep's restriction is blue or yellow. Pretty decent restriction. Easy to get around. Frostfire Keep has already been expanded, which means that there are 5 troops that you can get from opening portals in Frostfire Keep. It's not the best kingdom to go and get troops from. The best one, I guess, is the Frostfire Troll, which can give you a lot of blue and red. It's good for Tesla teams, provided that you don't have Holy Saint Astra. If you do have Holy Saint Astra, then Holy Saint Astra will outperform Frostfire Troll in every possible way. So, also cute. So if you are doing Frostfire Keep on Tuesday, that's what you're going to be up for. Anyway, let's go for the Core 4. Now, the Core 4 are the 4 troops that make up your Trials team. So if you do not have all of these unlocked, you probably should consider it. Most important Well, Valkyrie you're going to get anyway because she is rare and you can get her from the gold chests. Hyndla Frostcrown is going to be absolutely necessary to unlock, and she is base level legendary. So, a good troop to try to get out of the event chest should you have event keys to spend for this week. If not, then wait for her to be available in the Soul Forge as one of the legendary crafts. No, that's not a big deal for everyone, but that can be a really good way to get her. The important trait is the third one. All giant allies gain 2 life and magic on 4 or 5 gem matches. That would include her. And in this team, it would also include the Sapphire Giant and Skrymir the Lofty down here. Her spell does splash damage to an enemy and freezes all affected enemies and summons a giant troop. So this is essentially going to be your DPS troop for the trials. Plus, she also has that summon a giant troop. So if the Sapphire Giant goes down, then she can, when she casts her spell the next time, pops another giant troop in here, and you just go from there. Sapphire Giant, not absolutely necessary. So if you do not have Sapphire Giant unlocked, you'll probably be able to make decent progress in your trials anyway. Spell does damage to 1 enemy, converts 5 red gems to blue giant gems. I don't know if it's just I'm unlucky, but unless I know for a fact that there's no possible way that he's going to miss and not convert a red gem to a blue giant gem that would give me a 4 in a row. This does have a tendency to backfire and just make a lot of blue for the other side. And the other side of the trials for Stormheim is not a side that you want to give blue giant gems to. He also creates blue giant gems when he takes skull damage. He also reduces damage from skulls by 50%. So it's a good troop to put in the first slot, but just maybe leave him charged and then just let that blue filter down to Hyndla Frostcrown, who needs it a lot more. Valkyrie, very good troop. You need to have her unlocked, and you need to have her traded because her third trait gains bonus blue mana from blue gem matches. You obviously are going to want as much blue mana as you possibly can, particularly once you get to the epic trials. Her spell transforms a selected mana color to blue, and she gains a number of souls that are based on your magic. She does not use blue herself, so unfortunately she is not available on teams that have a blue restriction, and she's also not going to be available for the journey because she is not a giant herself, but she is very valuable in many teams that require blue mana. So keep her in mind. And last one to talk about is Skrymir the Lofty. Skrymir the Lofty, I usually would, when he is fully charged, I just simply fire him off on whoever's in the first position, be it the Sapphire Giant or some other giant that Hyndla Frostcrown put in the first position. He cleanses and barriers that ally, gives them life that is based on his magic, and moves them to the front of the team. So if he's casting it on the Sapphire Giant, it's already at the front of the team, doesn't have to move. Not bad, eh? But there's really no one else you want to move to the front of the team. Even if it means cleansing them and giving them a barrier, you don't want Hyndla Frostcrown to go to the front of the team and start taking skull damage. Best to leave Hyndla Frostcrown uncleansed. But yes, absolutely you need Hyndla Frostcrown unlocked. You'll get Valkyrie unlocked as well. Sapphire Giant and Skrymir the Lofty, I would assume you'll get those in due. So As far as the event chests are concerned, looking at just simply the core 4, it's Hyndla Frostcrown. Now, for the 4 more, I have 4 more troops for you to consider. The first one is a troop that I think has a lot of utility outside of Stormheim, but not necessarily a lot of utility in Stormheim, if you know what I mean. Ice Witch gains bonus purple mana from purple gem matches, also gains 1 magic when an ally casts a spell, and her spell deals damage to 1 enemy and freezes them, and if the enemy dies, she gives 3 magic to all allies, which includes herself. So this is just a troop that gets better and better as the fight gets longer and longer. So definitely a good troop to consider. Obviously, is not going to help you with the journey, but she helps out a lot in other teams that don't have a specific Stormheim restriction. Balder is a very good troop. This is an epic troop. This one, the traits are okay, nothing absolutely necessary. The spell is where it's at. Creates 4 skulls boosted by blue allies. And that boost ratio is ×4, which means if all 4 of your teammates use blue mana, then Balder is going to create 20 skulls. And that will do a lot of damage, particularly if the troop that is in first position has a high attack value. And there are ways of getting a pretty high attack value with the Stormheim troops. I'm going to also consider Jarl Firemantle. This is another one of the base legendaries. He burns a random enemy on 4 or 5 gem matches. He creates 9 red and 9 yellow gems and then deals damage to 1 enemy. Unfortunately, even though he's a giant, he does not use blue mana, so he's not going to be useful for the journey. But he is useful in other teams. So if you do not have him, I might say think about going in for event keys for him. But Hyndla Frostcrown is by far the more important one to go for. Now, as far as mythics that you can craft from the Soul Forge, well, there are 4 mythics in Stormheim right now. This dragon right here is one of the cosmic dragons. So if you're going for Stellarix, you will get this dragon in the process, and that will count as one of your mythics. However, if I'm not including that dragon, which I usually don't, then by far the best choice of the remaining 3 is Mistralis. Mistralis enchants all allies in 4 or 5 gem matches, which can be very useful. She also does splash damage to 1 to 4 random enemies, jumbles the board, gains an extra turn. That 1 to 4 seems to be from my experience, seems to be a pretty even spread. So the chances of getting 4 random enemies hit with splash damage seems to be about the same as 1. It's nice to get an extra turn after jumbling the board, so if the board jumbles in your favor, you'll be able to take advantage of that right away. That splash damage can really do a number if you get lucky. But it is a really good troop. Mistralis does use blue mana, however, Mistralis is not a giant, so won't help you in the journey. Onyx Giant will, Jotnar Storm Shield will. They're both good, but they're not as good as Mistralis. And there's no guarantee that any of them are going to be available in the Soul Forge and Stormheim week anyway, but keep your eye on Mistralis if you don't have her. And then get the other two as you go along. You'll get the Cosmic Dragon. Anyway, that is all of the core 4 and 4 more. Let's take a quick look at the weapons. There are 16 weapons right now. Keep in mind that you will need at least 15 of them in order to get Stormheim to power 30 if you're thinking that far ahead. So you're going to need almost all of these. I think we're going to be adding one more. So this would be 17 for Stormheim week. Of the ones that are available right now, there are 3 that I think are going to be the most valuable. Crown of Horns explodes 42 blue gems, grants a random status effect to all giant allies, and summons a giant troop. These weapons are usually pretty good. They're better off if you have a lot of giants that you can bring in fully leveled and fully traded. But exploding 42 blue gems is going to help a lot of your Stormheim teams. So that's a really good weapon to consider. Also, slightly a little bit less than that is the Enormous. Enormous explodes brown gems and does the same thing with giant allies and summoning a giant troop. The big difference between these two is exploding the brown gems versus the blue gems. Brown gems can help in Stormheim as well, but blue gems has a little bit more versatility than brown. But they're both good to have because one is always going to be better than the other, considering whatever Stormheim team you're planning on marching into the Underinspire, or whatever Stormheim restriction you're dealing with. The Ginormous Cleaver is a little bit more of a valuable weapon for lower level players. Does damage to one enemy, boosted by Stormheim allies, creates a mix of 6 blue and yellow gems for each Stormheim ally. Blue and yellow is a pretty good mix for Stormheim, if I say so. I do think you're probably going to want the resummoning weapons if you have a lot of troops that are max leveled and fully traded. But this one can be very useful in its own regard. Crossfire Jewel is the weapon for the faction. It deals damage to an enemy, and if the enemy is frozen, it curses them. Now, if the enemy is burning, it death marks them. It's a pretty good weapon. Is it a must-have weapon? No, but it is a pretty good weapon. So if you do not happen to have it, and Faction Assault comes around on Tuesday, you might consider getting this either from the Faction Assault shop or from the Soul Forge. Remember, it will only be available for 1 day. The class weapon is Thorodin. Thorodin does splash damage to an enemy boosted by giant allies and enemies. 50 splash damage that also could be boosted by 24 with all 4 giant allies, plus more if there are giants on the other side. Isn't great, but it's still pretty good. As far as the doomed weapons go, the doomed hammer I think will outperform it. I haven't unlocked it myself, but I will be unlocking it during Stormheim week. This one does 50 heavy splash damage to an enemy, plus 4 per tempering level. 50 is, I believe, magic plus 5. Stuns all blue enemies, cleanses all blue allies, explodes 4 gems, and if there's a doom, it explodes 3 more, so essentially 7. But yes, 50 plus 40, which would be at maximum tempering, would be 90. That would be, I'm assuming Thorodin and Doomed Hammer that magenta number would be the same for everyone. So this kind of caps at 24 for the boost ratio, unless you have a lot of giants on the other side, whereas this one can go up to 40. So this one is good. Plus this is heavy splash damage, whereas this is regular splash damage. So overall, the Doomed Hammer, you want to get that one. The Doomed Wand is good too. It's one of those ones where you charge it up with blue and then it creates a lot of green. It's probably not going to work fairly well for Stormheim teams, but it has some value it could work for Hindla Frostcrown, but really you're probably gonna find if you have a choice between one of these two, get the Doomed Hammer and save the Doomed Wand for another time. Okay, let's take a quick look at the pets. The penguin is the kingdom bonus pet, so you want to get these as high as you possibly can because the kingdom bonus is pretty valuable. It is the most important uh, of the pets that you can get. Giantini gives you a team bonus for Giant. That's going to help you out with your journey, most likely. Zephyros' Cloud will help you out if you have Zephyros on your team. And Dr. Snow is the Frostfire Keep faction pet. So if you max out your renown for Frostfire Keep, you'll get this to Mythic pretty much automatically. And that is pretty much it for Stormheim week. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, subscribe to this channel, and or follow me on Twitch if you'd like to see more of my content. In the comments below, let me know what you think of Stormheim week. Are you going for Power 30 in Stormheim, or are you passing this up for another one? I'll see you in the next video.